Hi guys, this is Bruce and this is Bill Baby Build Show. Today we are going to talk about the cap rate. But first, if you have a question for me, email it to askbruceaquestion@gmail.com or put it in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you find the content of today's show helpful. Today we are going to talk about terminology. Cap rate. Some people call it the capitalization rate, but most of the time when you're out in the world and you're talking to people, you're going to hear the term cap rate. Cap rate is something you should be asking all the time as well. That is going to be a mental measuring stick for you on whether or not you should look at a project or not. Now, people have lots of different definitions. There's financial definitions, and then there's kind of risk-based definitions. So we'll just break those up really quickly. To put it in layman's terms, a cap rate is a measure of the risk of a project, because what it is, it's the seller telling you what kind of return they would expect you to make based on the metrics that they've put together for the project. So they've done their NOI calculations and all the numbers that they put together, and they're saying to you, we believe that you can get a 5, 6, 7% return on this project. That's more important today than it has been for many, many, many years, because interest rates used to be so low that a 7 or an 8 cap sounded pretty good because you're making more than enough money to pay your interest rate on your payment. And so that's been great. Now that interest rates are starting to bump 8, 9%, buying a project with a 6 or 7% cap rate means that you are going to probably not make enough money unless you put a giant chunk of change down when you buy the property. Doesn't change the economics of how much money you're going to spend on that deal. It would change the cash flow if you put a lot of money down. So if you're going to do some Google searching, NOI has been a great number to look at. Triple net's a great thing to look at and understand. And cap rate is a good thing to understand. You're going to start to understand for the product type that you're looking for that anything under, let's say, an 8 just won't work for you. That means it's too far away from what you want. It's a good measurement of the risk that's associated with that. I'll give you an example. I really like retail space, I like office space, and I like office warehouse or flex space. All three of those will trade at different cap rates. Office and office warehouse probably being the highest. Retail is a little bit lower. So the lower that cap rate is, the more that you are going to be spending on a property and the more risk you be taking on that property. In retail, at least where I am, retail is pretty strong, so cap rates are still a little bit lower. I might look at a project that's a 6 or a 7, where in office at this point, I can't make numbers work on anything under 8 or 9. And that's even with me calculating some sort of change that I'm going to make to get it higher than that. So Google it, try and understand it, but just understand that when you are talking to people, you'll get to that point where you can say, what's the cap rate on that deal? And if you're looking for 8s and they say it's a 5.5 or a 5.2 or a 4.9, that's a pretty quick tell that may not be a project worth spending your time on. Even if you can get them to move that rate, you probably can't get them up to an 8. So two great good things when you're talking to a broker or somebody selling a property. NOI, so you should be able to do some quick math. Calculations of a cap rate. Drum roll, please. Let's just do the math. I'll do the math with you. Got my trusty calculator. So you have a project, let's say you got $100,000 of NOI, right? Net operating income. That is all the income after all of your expenses except your debt on that deal. So if I'm looking at a deal, I might want it to be an 8 cap. So what am I going to do? I'm going to divide that 100,000 by 0.08, and that's going to give me what should be sort of the projected value of that building. This is a quick down and dirty way to just decide if you should even look at a deal. That tells me that that building is worth about $1.25 million. So if he says he's selling it for 2 million and I think it's worth 1.25, are we close enough to negotiate on that deal or not? That's a question for you to decide. I'm not going to tell you not to go after that or to go after that. All I'm saying is at an 8 cap, if that's what you want to make on a deal, that's how valuable that property is. You've either got to get the NOI up or you've got to get that cap rate up to get you a better value for that property. So anyway, I hope this helps. If you did like it, like down below. If you want to ask me a question directly, send that to askbruceaquestion@gmail.com. And as always, like and subscribe. Thanks, guys. See you soon.